Hello students. In the previous lectures, in respiration chapters, we have learned about introduction of the respiration, types of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic, steps of respiration like the glycolysis, and in aerobic respiration, Krebs cycle and ETS, electron transport system, and oxidative phosphorylation. Okay, so in various steps we have seen that at various places ATP production is there, and at some places NADH2 and FADH2 are produced, which ultimately converted into ATP with the help of electron transport chain and oxidative phosphorylation. So in this part today we will discuss about how much ATP is obtained through the various steps of the respirations, which is known as respiratory balance sheet. But before starting, we have to uh, assume certain assumptions to calculate the actual number of ATP energy, because without these assumptions we cannot calculate the exact quantity of the ATP energy produced during uh, respiration from one molecule of glucose. And one more thing, these assumptions are only theoretically possible, not practically it is possible, because in a living system, in a cell, there are so many processes are going on continuously. But here in theory, we have seen all the steps in a sequential manner, which is not possible in a living cell because there are so many processes occurring at the same time. So sequence is not uh, possible there. Okay, so first we will discuss about the assumptions to calculate the ATP energy. After that we will calculate. So these assumptions are, first one is there is sequential orderly pathway functioning with one substrate forming the next, and with glycolysis, TCA cycle and ETS pathway following one after another. It means all the sequence should be in all these steps should be in a sequential manner. Second, the NADH synthesized in the glycolysis process, if you remember, is transferred into the mitochondria and undergoes oxidative phosphorylation, because rest NADH2 already produced in the mitochondria, one during the link reaction and three during the Krebs cycle or the TCA cycle, but two NADH were synthesized in the glycolysis, which is present in the cytoplasm. So it should be transferred first into the mitochondria and it will undergo oxidative phosphorylation to produce ATP. Third, none of the intermediates in the pathway are utilized to synthesize any other compound. Okay, it is theoretically possible, but practically, there are so many processes taking place at the same time. So during just suppose glucose forms the glucose 3 phosphate, and after that so many intermediate products are formed, but as per requirement cell can utilize these intermediate products for the production of another molecules. So it is not easy to run whole reaction in a sequential manner in practically in a living system. Okay, but to calculate the respiratory balance sheet, this should be there, so it is theoretically it is possible. Fourth, only glucose is being respired. No other alternative substrates are entering in the pathway at any of the intermediary stage. So this calculation is only for the glucose as the respiratory substrate, while actually there are so many respiratory substrates are utilized during the respiration. Okay, so you have to remember all these 4 points which are just assumptions to calculate the respiratory balance. So in this way, if you can calculate, in the glycolysis we have 2 ATP production. um, if we talk about net ATP, then there are 2 ATP we get. After that, 1 ATP molecules during the one Krebs cycle, and you know Krebs cycle runs twice, so total 2 ATP. In this way we get total 4 ATP molecules. Now we can calculate the ATP through the NADH2. So you know from one NADH2 3 ATP is obtained. So 2 NADH2 were produced in the glycolysis, 2 in the link reaction, and 6 in the Krebs cycle. If we talk about twice Krebs cycle, so 6 in the Krebs cycle overall, plus 2 in the glycolysis, link reaction, so it becomes 8, and 2 in the glycolysis, so total 10 NADH2 were produced. You can see here, we have calculated already in this part. This NADH2, this is 10 in number, and 2 FADH2 were also obtained in the Krebs cycle, this one. So you can calculate in this way. In this way, so from the 10 NADH2, we get 10 into 3, that is 30 ATP, and from 2 FADH2 we get from 1 FADH2 we get 2 ATP. So from 2 FADH2 we get total 4 ATP molecules. Rest ATP molecule 2 in the glycolysis, 2 in the Krebs cycle, so total 4 direct ATP, that is called substrate level phosphorylation. So in this way total 38 ATP we get. Okay, in most of the cell we get 38 number of ATP, but in some cells we get total 36 ATP molecule. How? Where are the 2 ATP molecules? So if you remember, out of these 10 NADH2, 2 NADH2 were produced in the cytoplasm during the glycolysis, and according to respiratory balance sheet assumptions, the NADH2 which is synthesized in glycolysis in the cytoplasm should transfer into the mitochondria. So in various cells, this transfer of NADH2 from cytoplasm into the mitochondria, it follows some pathway, aspartate, malate aspartate pathway and glycolate pathway. So some cells follow one type of pathway, while another type of cells follow the different pathway. So in one type of pathway there is utilization of 2 ATP molecule, but in another it is not utilized. So in this way, in some cells we get 38 ATP, while in some cells we get 36 number of ATP. Okay, so this was about respiratory balance sheet. Now in short we will discuss about the fermentation and aerobic respiration difference. Fermentation means anaerobic respiration, so you already know about the difference between anaerobic and aerobic respiration. So we will quickly revise this topic. Fermentation occurs, it accounts for only a partial breakdown. In fermentation, partial breakdown is taking place, whereas in aerobic respiration, complete breakdown of the respiratory substrate is taking place. Okay, and after complete oxidation we will get CO2 and water in the end product. Second point, fermentation. In fermentation there is a net gain of only 2 molecules of ATP for each molecule of glucose degraded to pyruvic acid, whereas many number of molecules of ATP are generated under the aerobic respiration. Third point, NADH is oxidized to NAD plus rather slowly in fermentation. However, reaction is very vigorous in case of aerobic respiration. So in short, you can say in fermentation, partial breakdown; in aerobic respiration, complete breakdown of the respiratory substrate is taking place. In second point, fermentation, we get only 2 molecules of ATP, while in aerobic respiration we get large number of ATP. And in third point, you can say fermentation is a slow process, while the aerobic respiration is a fast or vigorous process. Okay. Next is amphibolic pathway. So amphi means both. Amphi means both. Bolic means metabolic. So you know metabolism are of two type, anabolism and catabolism. Anabolism means association reaction. Association means from the simple substances there is production of complex molecule, and catabolism is the breakdown process in which a complex molecule going to break down into simple substances. So this is a amphibolic pathway in which both the type of reaction is taking place. You already studied about carbohydrate, out of which the simple sugar is glucose. It undergo glycolysis, link reaction, and in the end, Krebs cycle. So this is a catabolic process, because from if we start from the carbohydrate, it undergoes the digestion process in our stomach and intestine. But after that, when it reaches, when it converts into the glucose through the blood stream, it goes under the each and every cell, where further breakdown through the oxidation process, due to which various intermediates are formed, and this is just breakdown process or the catabolism. But in various steps there are some more reactions in the cell, in a living cell, through which various intermediate complex products are also formed. Okay, sometimes it is involved in the production of pigments, it is involved in the production of vitamins, it is involved in the production of cytochromes and different type of products. So in between these reactions, some anabolism is also there. Okay, therefore it is known as amphibolic pathway. This is not occurs only through the carbohydrate or the glucose. It can also through the fat and the proteins. You know, protein, it is also digested in our alimentary canal with the help of various proteases, enzymes. After that, amino acid is formed. After that, deamination is there. Deamination means removal of amino group from the amino acid, due to which it convert into various organic acids like the pyric acid, oxalic acid, and other type of acids. So ultimately, it also joins this pathway of respiration. And if we talk about the fat, it is also digested in our intestine and our stomach, a little part in the stomach. After that, it converts into fatty acid and glycerol. It also undergoes beta oxidation. Through which the fatty acid and glycerol converted into acetyl coenzyme A, and it also follow the same pathway. So in this way, any type of respiratory substrate will be catabolized, as well as at any steps it can be utilized as anabolic process for the production of complex substances, which is required by a cell. Okay, means if it is a cell which contain chlorophyll, so various substances are required, like for the production of chlorophyll pigment, various intermediates will be required. If it is a specialized cell for the storage of fat, then other type of intermediate will be formed. So this way, depending upon the type of cell, this catabolic process is there, but along with this, anabolism is also there for the production of various molecules. Therefore, it is known as amphibolic pathway. Okay. Now, the last topic of this chapter is respiratory quotient. What does this mean? Respiratory quotient, it is the ratio of the volume of CO2 evolved to the volume of oxygen consumed in the respiration, is called respiratory quotient or respiratory ratio. So it is very simple topic. RQ, or the respiratory quotient, it is a type of ratio between the CO2 and O2, and you know during the respiration CO2 is released and oxygen is consumed. So you have to write CO2 evolved, the volume of how much CO2 is evolved during the respiration, upon, in the denominator you have to write volume of oxygen consumed. Okay, so in this way this ratio is known as respiratory quotient. Depends on respiratory substrate. This ratio is depend upon the type of respiratory substrate, because it is different for the carbohydrate, different for the protein, and for the fat. But the ratio is different. For carbohydrate, when it is completely oxidized, means through the aerobic respiration, the RQ will be 1, because in the respiration you can see this reaction, glucose plus 6 O2. It will, after complete oxidation, it produce 6 CO2, 6 water molecule plus energy. So 6 number of CO2 upon 6 number of O2. The respiratory quotient will be 1. Okay, so for the carbohydrate, the value of RQ is always 1. But for the fats, when it comes under the respiratory pathway, the respiratory quotient becomes down, means it becomes less than 1. Why? Because for one example is tripalmitin. Okay, you can see the structural formula C51H98O6. Okay, for the breakdown of this complex fat molecule, there is requirement of 145 molecule of oxygen. Large number of oxygen is required for the breakdown of this complex fat substance, but it releases comparatively less amount of CO2, 102 molecules of CO2 plus 98 molecules of water plus energy. Okay, because if we compare in the fat and carbohydrate, the number of carbon atom is comparatively less. If we talk about the overall structural formula, so in this way the less amount of CO2 is released as compared to the oxygen utilized for its breakdown. So number of oxygen molecule is more. So if in the ratio the denominator is higher, then ratio will always be less than 1. So for the fat, one fat is tripalmitin, the RQ will be 0.7. Okay, similarly for the proteins, when we calculate it also less than 1 but more than the fats. So for the proteins, the respiratory quotient value is 0.9. So you have to remember all these examples and this ratio. Okay, so this is all about this chapter, and read by yourself. In live lectures we will also discuss this chapter in various ways, in various with more examples. Okay, so this is very brief overview of this chapter, and now we will discuss the next chapter in the next lecture. Okay, thank you class, bye.